passenger jet vanished without a trace. No wreckage, no distress signal, just gone. Decades later, the plane was found intact on the ocean floor, untouched by time. How did it remain hidden for so long? And could this mystery be part of something even bigger? Where are you from, and have you ever heard of strange disappearances like this? Let's dive in. But to truly understand this astonishing discovery, we need to go back to where it all began. The night Flight 401 took off on what should have been a routine journey. On August 15, 1995, at 8:15 in the evening, Atlantic Air Flight 401 was preparing for takeoff from Miami International Airport. Dark storm clouds loomed over the runway, and strong winds rattled the parked planes. In the cockpit of the large commercial jet, Captain James Cooper was checking the flight systems for the third time, while First Officer Thomas Reynolds coordinated route changes with air traffic control due to the approaching storm. In the cabin, flight attendant Maria Sanchez assisted passengers as they settled into their seats. With 12 years of experience, she had a keen eye for recognizing faces and personalities. At the back of the plane, a group of 6 marine biology students, led by Professor Alex Cohen, were en route to a research center in Puerto Rico. Renowned neurosurgeon David Rosenthal was seated in business class, traveling to perform an emergency surgery. Nearby, newlyweds John and Emily Parker, fresh from their honeymoon, were lost in each other's eyes. By the window, 5-year-old Sarah Miller clutched her stuffed bear. It was her first time flying. As the final safety checks were completed, flight engineer Mark Thompson glanced at the control panel. The compass needles twitched erratically before snapping back into place. Captain Cooper frowned. This was unusual. If you were Captain Cooper, would you have questioned the compass issue more, or trusted the plane's systems and taken off? Comment and chat with me. But as the plane ascended into the night sky, something unseen was already waiting in the darkness, a force no one on board could have predicted. At 8:42 in the evening, after a half-hour delay due to bad weather, the large commercial aircraft finally took off. The rain pounded against the windows, but the experienced crew smoothly lifted the plane into the sky. At 1,000 meters, they entered thick clouds. Flight 401 climbed to 10,700 meters, and follow the adjusted route, came the air traffic controller's voice through the headsets. The flight was scheduled to pass over a remote section of the Atlantic Ocean known for unpredictable weather patterns. The first hour of the journey was relatively smooth. The flight attendants served drinks, and the passengers settled in for the 3-hour trip. At 9:45 in the evening, the plane reached the area where weather changes were common. That's when things started to feel unusual. Mark Thompson, the flight engineer, was the first to notice something strange about the instruments. The compass needle began twitching, then suddenly shifted 40 degrees to the left before snapping back into place. Thompson pointed at the control panel. "Hey, Captain, check this out," he said. The 3 compasses were displaying different readings, which didn't make any sense. As Flight 401 ventured deeper into the Atlantic, the calm journey began to unravel. What started as minor anomalies soon turned into something far more terrifying. At 10:15 in the evening, the co-pilot reported unusual radio interference. A deep, pulsing hum cut through the usual radio static and grew louder. At the same time, the navigation system started acting unpredictably. The GPS briefly displayed conflicting coordinates before stabilizing. The crew's concern grew with each passing minute. At 10:30 in the evening, Captain Cooper contacted the nearest air traffic control center. "Flight 401 is requesting information on any unusual weather in the area. We are experiencing intermittent equipment malfunctions." Meanwhile, passengers in the cabin began noticing strange occurrences. The water in the glasses rippled, as if responding to subtle vibrations. Some passengers reported feeling lightheaded and slightly nauseous. Professor Cohen took out a compass from his bag, but its needle wavered erratically. Little Sarah clutched her stuffed bear and pointed out the window. "Mom, look! The water is glowing," she whispered. By 10:47 in the evening, the situation had taken an unsettling turn. Then, in a chilling turn of events, the plane's systems began failing one by one, leading to a final cryptic transmission that would leave investigators baffled for decades. Before exploring, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just hit the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It helps this channel so much, and if you do that, I will do everything I can to make this show even better for you. Deal? At 10:54 in the evening, the flight crew reported severe electronic malfunctions. The onboard computers restarted intermittently, and the autopilot had disengaged. Warning indicators flashed across the dashboard, and communication with air traffic control became unstable. The final transmission from Captain Cooper was partially recorded before cutting off. "Control Center, this is Flight 401. We're observing an unusual glow beneath the ocean's surface. It appears to be unidentified." The audio then became distorted before the connection was lost. At that moment, radar contact with Flight 401 became erratic, showing conflicting signals for a brief instant before disappearing entirely. Despite the harsh weather conditions, a search operation was launched immediately. Multiple Coast Guard vessels, aircraft, and submarines were dispatched to comb the area where the aircraft was last detected. With Flight 411 gone without a trace, search teams scoured the ocean for any sign of the missing aircraft. But what they didn't find only deepened the mystery. Rescue teams encountered several search challenges: poor weather conditions, intermittent radio communication issues, and difficult navigation due to strong currents. On the third day of the operation, a patrol boat discovered a few scattered items: a life jacket with the flight number, a small piece of aircraft debris, and a child's backpack belonging to Sarah Miller. Inside, there was a waterlogged stuffed bear. Despite weeks of exhaustive efforts, no additional evidence was recovered. After 14 days, officials closed the search operation. The final report concluded, the aircraft likely crashed due to undetermined causes. Families of the passengers held memorials to honor their loved ones. Among them was 8-year-old Michael Cooper, who placed a picture of himself and his father flying a kite at his father's memorial. Inspired by his father's legacy, he developed a deep fascination with the ocean. Years passed, and Michael pursued a career in marine exploration. He studied ocean science in college, specializing in deep-sea research and participating in multiple exploratory missions. By 2024, he had become one of the world's leading experts in deep-sea object recovery. The world moved on, the search was abandoned, and the mystery was buried under the waves. But years later, one man refused to let it go, and his journey would lead to an unbelievable discovery. In December 2023, marine biologists contacted Michael at the Marine Research Institute. They had observed unusual dolphin activity near the region where Flight 401 disappeared. A large pod of about 40 dolphins had been consistently gathering in the same area for months, even during storms, an intriguing but unexplained behavioral pattern. On January 12, 2024, the research ship Poseidon set sail. The team on board was a remarkable mix of experts: Dr. Sarah Chen, a leading specialist in marine mammal behavior; Robert McKenzie, a world-renowned deep-sea diver; Elena Volkova, an engineer who developed the latest underwater acoustic systems; and Captain Jack Hawthorne, a veteran of hundreds of maritime missions. Within hours of reaching the designated zone, the crew encountered technical difficulties. The ship's navigation systems briefly malfunctioned, and computer systems restarted intermittently, but the cause remained unclear. A low-frequency hum was detected in the team's headsets, similar to recordings from previous expeditions in the region. About 10 miles from their target zone, the ship approached a large pod of dolphins. The animals moved in tight formations and displayed synchronized behaviors that caught the researchers' attention. They occasionally surfaced and seemed unusually aware of the vessel's presence. The team closely monitored their activity, hoping to understand the significance of their behavior. The first dive with an autonomous underwater vehicle nearly failed. At 60 meters, all onboard systems unexpectedly shut down, forcing an emergency retrieval. Data analysis later revealed that the AUV had detected a strong magnetic anomaly moments before the failure. On the third day, Michael decided to dive alongside Robert Mackenzie. They descended to 90 meters, where visibility was unexpectedly clear, about 30 meters. As they moved forward, several dolphins swam behind them in a loose semicircle. Then, through the blue haze, a massive shape began to take form. Michael's breath caught. Right in front of them lay a large aircraft resting on the seabed. Despite decades underwater, the fuselage was remarkably well preserved, and the tail number was still visible, 401. Before they could examine the site further, the motion detectors signaled movement. 3 large sharks approached the dive area, drawn by the disturbance. The team quickly assessed the situation. Things were about to get challenging. If Flight 401 reappeared after nearly 30 years, what do you think happened during that missing time? A time slip? A cover-up? Something else? Drop your theory in the comments. I'm reading them all. Then, at last, the impossible happened. Beneath the ocean waves, hidden for decades, the lost aircraft of Flight 401 finally revealed itself. But what the team found next raised more questions than answers. Robert reached for the glowing object, but before he could grab it, the dolphins reacted swiftly. The pod closed ranks around the divers, forming a protective barrier. A few of the larger dolphins aggressively darted toward the sharks, forcing them to retreat. Others splashed forcefully with their tails, creating turbulence that disrupted the predator's movements. Within moments, the sharks backed off, and the divers could continue their mission. It took 4 days to carefully inspect the aircraft. Everything in the cockpit suggested that the crew had been battling an intense and unexpected situation. The control sticks were at their limits, and the emergency systems had been engaged. Inside Captain Cooper's uniform pocket, they found a photograph of little Michael, along with a note. "Happy birthday, son. Dad will be back in 2 days." The eerie stillness of the wreckage made it feel as though time itself had frozen. Oxygen masks hung above every seat, a chilling reminder that the crew had fought desperately to stabilize the aircraft. On the table at seat 14A, a copy of National Geographic lay open to an article about unexplained oceanic phenomena. In the seat pocket nearby, they discovered Professor Cohen's notebook, containing a handwritten entry. "The glow is intensifying. I don't know what's causing it, but it's unlike anything I've seen before." The most perplexing discovery was the structural damage to the aircraft. Investigators found a series of smooth circular perforations, approximately 15 centimeters in diameter, along the fuselage. The edges appeared to have been exposed to extreme heat, beyond what is typically observed in aviation incidents. On the 5th day of the operation, the team successfully retrieved the black box, hoping it would hold answers to the plane's final moments. Finding the plane was just the beginning. When the team retrieved the black box in a mysterious logbook, they uncovered a series of chilling final entries that defied all logic. Even after decades underwater, some of the aircraft's recordings remained intact. What the experts heard was shocking. Just moments before the plane disappeared, the instruments recorded a powerful electromagnetic disturbance across all systems. The final audible transmission was fragmented. "It's coming our way." "Oh my God." "That's not all." Then, silence. Throughout the mission, the dolphins remained near the research station, displaying persistent but unexplained behavior. Biologists identified markings on their fins and confirmed that some individuals belonged to a lineage observed in this same location in the late 1990s. On the final day of diving, Michael discovered something extraordinary: a logbook in a sealed plastic container carefully hidden within the dashboard. The final entries detailed an unsettling sequence of events. 11:15 p.m. All systems are failing. Engines won't restart. We are losing altitude. Below us, something is glowing, moving in a spiral pattern. 11:17 p.m. The plane's descent is slowing, as if something is holding it. Passengers are panicking. A child is screaming. She sees large shadows moving beneath us. 11:18 p.m. The glow is surrounding us. The controls won't respond. The instruments display impossible numbers. Outside temperature reading 127 degrees Celsius. Altitude -300 meters. What does that even mean? 11:19 p.m. They are here. I see them through the structure. Not like anything we know. Mickey, I'm sorry I won't get to see you grow up. That was the final entry. The last page contained strange markings, a series of unknown symbols that no one could immediately identify. When the sealed container was brought to the surface, the team experienced an unexpected technical failure. For exactly 7 minutes and 23 seconds, all electronic devices on the ship shut down. Upon rebooting, some of the digital images related to the discovery were corrupted or missing. However, Dr. Chen had used an old Polaroid camera, ensuring some physical photographs remained intact. Within a week, the team gathered over a terabyte of sonar and environmental data. They detected a circular formation beneath the wreckage, 110 meters in diameter and 26 meters deep. The area had no prior seabed mapping records. Further analysis revealed unusual magnetic fluctuations occurring every 108 minutes. Water samples contained trace mineral compositions that deviated from standard oceanic baselines. The dolphins' behavior remained a major mystery. After checking the flight recordings, the marine mammals began producing low-frequency vocalizations that were unusual for their species. Computational analysis suggested repetitive patterns in the sound waves, but their meaning, if any, remained unclear. Dr. Chen dedicated months to studying the signals, searching for an explanation. The Bermuda Triangle has swallowed ships, planes, and possibly even time itself. If you love uncovering history's strangest mysteries, hit that like button and let's dive deeper together. Despite all the evidence, one question remains. What happened to Flight 401 that night? Some say it was a freak accident, while others believe something much more extraordinary was at play. But one thing is certain, this mystery is far from over. As the expedition ended, the dolphins followed the research vessel. At the edge of the mapped zone, the largest dolphin leaped from the water, clicking in a rhythm that resembled patterns recorded in the flight's black box. The mystery of Flight 400 remained unsolved. The investigation stalled as researchers struggled to explain anomalies. Some findings were classified, fueling speculation. One major debate centered on the circular holes in the aircraft's structure. Some believed they were caused by natural forces, while others called for further study. Michael Cooper returned to the wreckage site every month, always met by the same pod of dolphins. They swam alongside the vessel as if guarding the secret of the plane resting below. If you found today's video interesting, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support is very important to us. Be sure to check out the next video appearing on your screen. You're sure to love the content we bring. Please leave a comment about which country you'd like us to explore next. Thank you for watching, and see you in the latest video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.